Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, excuse me. So today we will shortly be joined by Colin Denker in just a few minutes, coming to us, I believe, from his new vessel down there in the Carolinas. He's probably sweating it out right now, but he decided he could slice away a little bit of time, so big props for that one. But before we start the show, I figured we'd do a little check-in. I'm going to be headed out onto the tiny lakes of the Upper Peninsula here in Michigan. I'm going to be gone for about a week or so, and yeah, just wanted to talk a little bit about that one because it's kind of a big reset. In some ways, I kind of base my year around this camping trip. Buddy of mine, Colin, is going to be coming, different Colin. And it's just two of us up there. It should be a really good time, but there's something about the disconnect. And now, obviously, I get disconnected when I go out to sea. This is a little bit different, though. You know, you go in the woods, you don't have the phone. You have very, very minimal gear because you have to be able to basically carry it on your back and portage it across from lake to lake, and you've got your canoe, you got your fishing pole, basically food and shelter, but that's it. There's really zero else. I think the closest thing to a technological gadget, if you will, that we have aboard or on this trip, I should say, is a little tiny world band radio, and that's just so that we can tune in the first game the Lions are going to be playing this year because football starts, and that's always a kind of fun little event. But yeah, other than that, it's a zero tech sort of thing, and it's nice to leave the phone in the car, to take the watch off, to completely sort of unplug, if you will. And I don't know. I mean, this year in particular, I feel like I have not stopped moving place to place, speaking engagement to speaking engagement, coaching gig, sailing gig, all these sort of things. It has really been nonstop. And in between all that, there's a lot of time spent on the computer, a lot of time emailing, a lot of time uploading content, stuff like that. And it is wearing me down. And I think I get this way every year just about this time, and that's why this reset is so important. Why am I telling you all this? Well, it just might be something worth thinking about. Sometimes we get so involved in all this stuff and all this technology and just so much data coming in and so much going out that I think it scrambles my brain a little bit, and I need that week off from everything. Just not even the sight of a phone is a miraculous thing. It's a little strange in the beginning. You kind of are fidgety, and it's very easy to find yourself feeling bored. But give it a little bit of time. Give yourself that space. Don't let it break you, and you will find that suddenly the world kind of seems a little more even keeled, I guess. And I'm looking forward to that very, very much. It is an incredible feeling. I feel it when I'm out at sea for sure, but the woods are kind of like I guess, a very, very quick, and it's like a punch in the face when you get up there because there really isn't a whole lot to do. There's no daily routine checks of the canoe by any means, but it is still, I don't know, it's just this amazing feeling. And it's kind of funny because it is one of those things where we don't have a lot of comfort in that area. It's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy. Thankfully, we're not going to have any mosquitoes, I don't think, knock on wood. But there's a lot of discomfort. And in the same sense with offshore solo sailing, there's also some great rewards that come from pushing through that discomfort and finding yourself on the other side of it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And for sure, looking forward to getting into some more podcasts and doing some more interesting stuff. I'm pretty sure we're going to have some pretty great guests coming up in the weeks to come. Once I get back from this, though, it is full throttle. That's the game plan. Go to the woods, throttle way back, slow everything down, so that when I do get back, we can go full tilt. We're going to Chicago for speaking gigs. Then we're going to New York for a sailing gig. Then we're going to Indianapolis for a speaking gig. Then we're going to Maine to work on the boat. Then we're going East Coast sailing down to Carolinas, Florida. Then we're going to go Florida down to Puerto Rico. And then I'm going to come back, take Sparrow down from Maine to Florida, then go around Florida. At least that's the game plan. And that'll take me to just about Christmas. So we got a busy fall coming up, folks. A lot of sailing, a lot of interesting stuff. I can't wait to get into it and share some of the experiences with everybody. But before Colin tags in here, like I'm sure he will in just a minute or so, if you want to help support this podcast, if you want to help support the constant flow of this sort of stuff and sharing, and also possible safer and bigger voyages aboard Mighty Sparrow, a lot of that gear costs a lot of money, and a lot of it just constantly needs to be replaced, unfortunately, i.e., the EPIRB battery and stuff like that. So we'll have to sort of see. But yeah, other than that, thank you all so much for the support. Obviously, links in the description for all this stuff. We do have a few tickets left for the October show if you are in Indianapolis, Indiana, around October 2nd. We're going to be speaking at a school the day before, but then the big show is that one. And this is a rare one because I normally don't do this where we're selling tickets and we've booked a place and a venue. Very risky thing to do, but we are selling tickets pretty quick, so I'm very excited about that. And obviously, if you want to reach out to the show, possibly have me as a speaker or do some coaching, consulting, stuff like that, sailinginto.oblivion.com for all those needs. Now, let's see how punctual old Captain Denker is. It will be pretty interesting to see because we're clicking over to 12:30 right now, and that's the time we set for it. It tells a lot about a person how punctual they are. I'm already giving him a bit of grief only because he's always been such a great guest, and I really do. If you have not seen his video of his trip to Hawaii, it's like a 45-minute documentary. It's really, really good. It's actually gotten a huge amount of views. It's clocking up there towards 1 million, which is a huge thing for any sailing YouTuber that posts stuff out. And let's see, Collins, what should I do? Issue Colin Denker's device not accessible. Ensure using Chrome or Edge and ask for browsers or restart. Ooh. What's going on there? All right. Well, we're probably going to have to link this together. Let me do a little troubleshooting, and then we'll be back to you with Colin. Well, folks. Once again, two West Sailors meet. Or, well, yeah, I guess once again, because this is our second podcast since you've been on that beautiful Westsail vessel down there in the Carolinas. How you doing, Colin? Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty good. Weather's nice.
How hot is it down there?
It's not hot. I got so lucky. Um, it's maybe 80 today, the high.
Hmm. Oh my gosh, that's like an autumnal chill down there, that far
Yeah.
south. Nice, dude. That's got to
Yeah,
feel pretty good.
well, it's been like 90, 95 for like months, and then as soon as the day I got here it was 77, and I'm here for 4 days, and then it's like 81, 82 max, and then it'll be back in the 90s as soon as I leave. So I got crazy lucky.
Yeah, dude. Nice little window. Well, very cool. Well,
hmm
and so this trip to the boat, this is kind of well, I guess what's the game plan with it?
The game plan is to make a game plan, basically.
I know that move. I know that move.
Um, yeah, I keep calling this like a reconnaissance mission.
Yeah.
There's so much that needs to happen. It's funny because the boat is in really great shape overall, but even a boat like that, getting the list down, it's crazy how much work needs to happen. So it's basically like taking measurements and making a project list and trying to just get to know the boat a little bit better.
Right. Well, and have you? So, I mean, I know on our last podcast that you and I had, that was like the first or second night we were just hanging on the boat. Then you had some time with it, and we've spoken a few times since then. Have you checked out the boom? Have you looked and inspected that again?
The boom is really throwing me for a loop. So basically, I told you at the last minute when I before I left on the last trip, I took the mainsail off because it's hurricane season here, and I live on the other side of the country,
Yeah,
and I wanted to
smart.
reduce windage, right? So I pulled the furling Genoa down. I took all the canvas off the Dodger, and I removed the main. And when I did, I saw that the boom had a bend to it, and I didn't. Yeah, I was surprised. I wasn't sure, if it's how it would happen in the first place. It's not original. The whole rig was replaced maybe 20 years ago, and um, I don't know. It wasn't damaged. It's not like it's kinked. It was a rounded kind of bend,
Yeah.
um, downward, I thought. And then
Oh, the
so
plot
I'm looking,
thickens.
yeah. But I had no time. I was scrambling to get the boat ready, and I noticed it at the last second, so I didn't have time to look at it very closely. So I came back and looked at it, and what I'm noticing two things now. One, there might be a slight downward bend, but it's mostly to the side. It's kind of like a banana type shape.
Yeah.
It's not the same angle, right? It's not a crazy curve, but um, it's more of a bend to the side. And the other thing I noticed is that the boom is sitting kind of cocked, if that makes sense.
Uh huh.
Um, I'm not good at explaining like geometries, like shapes and things like that, but if I'm the mass and I'm looking back at the boom, it's like tilted over to one side. And then it's
Right. So
also
it's like rotated.
right. And I couldn't I couldn't even tell if it you would think maybe it's supposed to be able to freely rotate and I can't move it. So it's kind of cocked like this, and then it's got this bend side to side, which kind of gives the illusion that it's bending down, but it's because it's cocked. So if you kind of
Oh,
if you
right.
sight down the track, you can very clearly see a sideways curve. So
Interesting.
at best, not great for mainsail shape. Uh, and at worst needs to be replaced. So,
Well, I would think because those booms are they're pretty darn long on the West sails, and knowing how much mine flexes when I'm sailing, I wonder if you're out there with the mainsail, you got a decent amount of breeze, if it just kind of corrects it, or maybe doesn't correct it permanently, but basically makes it a non-issue when you actually have power in the mainsail.
mhm. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know who to ask. It's kind of one of those head scratchers. Like if you look up bent boom, in forum,
Yeah.
most people are talking about like kinked, like damaged, booms. I don't think I've found one example of somebody that was had the same issue I have. Um,
Yeah, because usually those aluminum booms, I mean, they hold that straight as an arrow shape, no matter how hard they get jacked. Whether it's uncontrolled jibes and it's loading up like on the boom vang or on the side stays or something like that. But as long as there aren't any visible cracks or kinks or anything like that, I would say is probably just going to be something where you're going to have to check it out when you're under sail and see what's going on as far as that bend. But if there aren't any visible like actual breaks or anything, I would think that it's probably still has its structural integrity.
I hope so.
Just bring a couple
Yeah,
2x4s and some twine. That way, if it breaks, you can just lash it together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see. It's one in a long list of things. The other thing I noticed right at the end there was that the wind vane is also bent,
Yeah.
and that is more of a that's an actual kink,
Right.
and so
Right.
that's a bummer. I think there must have been some kind of collision. Either I'm guessing another boat whacked it and didn't say anything, and it's just been sitting there bent this for how who knows how long. Um, but I got in touch with the manufacturer. It's a cap horn wind vane from they're made in Canada, and he said, yeah, that's definitely damaged. And he thought
Mm.
maybe some of the internal parts are damaged too. He said it's like probably totally non-op. So the
Ugh.
wind vanes are very expensive, so that was unfortunate.
They are. They are. Well, and I guess if that one does have to get replaced, would you go with the same one or would you go with something else?
I don't know. I had a monitor on my last boat, and it did really well. I don't think I would go hydrovane, um, because
Interesting.
they're one of the more expensive ones, and I've heard, like it's a different system. You lock off your main rudder,
Yeah.
and the Westsail has such a massive rudder. To me, to lock that up and use the little hydrovane rudder doesn't seem ideal. Um,
That
you know,
yeah, that's kind of been that was always my concern until I sailed on Montana, that beautiful West Sail 32, and we did I think all said and told we've done almost 3,000 miles on it, and that one's got the hydrovane, and we've seen up to 30 knot winds. The only thing we haven't done is run before any sort of heavy weather. So I don't know how it would do on that point of sale, and that's obviously pretty crucial point of sale if you're doing some big ocean stuff. But
right.
I was shocked at how well it could steer the boat, locking
Mm.
that, because that rudder, I mean, I don't know, it's got to be over 3 feet long, and it's pretty beefy little setup, that's for sure.
And it being further aft, I think, right, that it helps. I think the further aft, the more leverage, kind of the more effective a rudder would be. So,
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, I guess that definitely would make sense. I mean, you're gonna get cleaner water the further aft of the hull canal is, the West Sail, unless you've got the what is it, the Bill King modification where they smooth out all the gudgeons and fill in the gap. There's like an inch wide gap between the rudder and the hull on a West Sail, and it
mhm,
creates a pretty good amount of turbulence and drag. And the guy that won the Transpac overall corrected time back in the 90s, I think, he had done a
mhm,
modification where he basically filled in the gap, smoothed out all the bolts and the gudgeons and stuff, and essentially gained, I think, like a knot of boat speed
mm,
out of his boat, like as an average, which
wow,
obviously wasn't calculated into. Not that there's any controversy. I'm not hating on this guy because he just made his boat better. That's all he
right.
did.
Yeah, you
But
got to.
yeah, always got to. What else is how have you been like running the engine, doing a full systems check and everything?
Nah, haven't even gotten there. You and I ran it when you were here.
Yeah.
Actually, I looked and the coolant is below the low mark. Um, so,
Oh, is
I
that
mean,
in the little overflow reservoir?
yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
So
I
I'm
don't.
still,
Yeah.
I'm still kind of waiting to, yeah, devote time to look at that and watch some YouTube videos and start tinkering more. I definitely want to change the oil and look at the filters and replace that. I may have a fuel leak out of the tank.
Oh, really?
Hmm. There's
Mm.
plenty of diesel in there. I found the sight tube.
Yeah.
It's probably two-thirds full.
Okay.
So it's not like it's leaked out and it's all in the bilge and stuff, but there's a bunch of like residue beneath it, and there's a little area where some water pooled, and it looks like it might have some fuel in it. So that's a maybe. You can see how quickly it's like,
Oh, it
yeah, it's all kind of,
escalates. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of overwhelming. It's like the boat needs a dodger. It might need a wind vane. The boom is maybe there might be a fuel leak. So.
I see the reason for the plan to make a plan sort of idea for these 4 days. I mean, that, essentially that's every single time I get back to Sparrow. And granted, I've owned Sparrow for almost 8 years, I guess now, and I still had. That's the first thing I always do is I sit down. I got my pad, I got my pen, and I just start going through. Yeah, good man. I just start going through them. And if I ever feel overwhelmed, I figure out the smallest, easiest thing I can do. And I just go and start doing that. And once that's done, even if I've had it one time, it was just tightening the screws to the reading lamp in my bunk. And
Mm,
that was enough to get the ball rolling.
yeah.
And then you're just, swiping through all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I feel you. I yesterday my I kind of did something similar, and it was like it turned into wiping up the bathroom. For some reason, the bathroom or the head, it was the only place where there was a bunch of mildew,
Yeah.
just kind of spotted everywhere in the whole place. So, yeah, yesterday at one point I was like, well, I'm just gonna clean that up. Part of also this trip is making the boat livable, um, which sounds like I might have the cart before the horse, or I've felt guilty like spending time on stuff that's not related to actually sailing the boat. But if I'm going to be able to come here and be productive and stay on the boat and work on it, I need like the basics. Uh, kind of I need some clean water. I need the head to be not totally full of mildew. Um, figure out the fridge, stuff like that, bedding.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well,
so
because
yeah,
you want to be comfortable, and you want to make it I mean, that whole idea of owning a boat is supposed to be a fun activity, and there's obviously good times and bad, but overall, it's supposed to be a pleasant experience. And I always put a huge emphasis on my own comfort. I mean, even when I'm in the boatyard and I'm doing big projects on the boat and there's dust and crap everywhere, there's a point at the end of the day where I just pack everything up
hmm
and put it away and make the down below area below decks look nice like my little home. And then I get to kind of relax, unless it was like such a massive fiberglass project or something like that. I will almost always try and revert it back to the boat is perfect, almost just for like a mental like a way to mentally just be like, okay, now I can truly relax. Does that
yeah.
make any sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I generally do that too when I'm in. It was more the Triton kept me honest because it's so small that if you get into a project, uh,
Yeah.
stuff all the tools come out and the whole place is completely there's nowhere to sit even. So here there's a little more room to stretch out, but I totally agree. For your mental health and just to be able to
Well-being.
relax. Yeah, totally.
No,
So
for sure. Well, and not to switch gears totally, but I really enjoyed the live stream.
cool.
I
Yeah,
only
yeah.
got to see, I think, the first half of it because I had to bust out and go grocery shopping for this camping trip I'm headed on. But it was cool, man. Yeah, that was great. A lot of people, a lot of good questions and stuff.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I didn't know, I've never done anything like that before. I didn't know if anybody would show up. I suspected it'd be like five people.
Right,
And
right.
I was like, this is gonna be awkward. There's gonna be like one question and five people, and I'm just gonna be sitting here. But no, some people showed up and it was fun. Yeah, I'll probably do that again someday when there's more to talk about. And
Well,
yeah, thanks for coming, by the way.
yeah. Oh no, no problem, man. I always thought I like doing those. I mean, I can't remember the first one I ever did. I think it was uh, uh like a pre-departure one or something like that. And I was like, oh, I want to see what this live thing is all about. But the cool thing that I found out is that gets saved, and you've got it in your categories of live streams on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
And you can build that all up, and it's kind of cool. It's almost like a video podcast in a way.
yeah. Yeah. I kind of wish it feels awkward. It took getting used to like not being able to. It's like you're having a conversation, but it's one way. Like you can't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
the other person. Nobody's talking, so it's just silence and there's texts coming in and stuff. But yeah, that's a little interesting.
Well, and
But
those yahoos in the beginning that you had to block, I was just like, it's so distracting that when that sort of stuff happens, because I'm kind of reading the chat as it's going, and then I can
yeah.
tell you get distracted, so you get a bit derailed. But you dealt with it pretty quick, and we're able to just kind of kick the people out, which is great.
Well, that's how you know you've made it when
Yeah.
pe people are calling you a trans trans woman and asking about your husband and talking about worshiping the devil.
Yeah,
So
it was a little bit out of left field. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, like you said, that's how you know you've made it, dude. You've got the trolls out there
yeah,
going after
yeah,
you,
yeah.
hating you because of your success. Oh,
The trolls are my favorite. The some of the comments on the Hawaii video have been really funny to me.
I'll bet. What are some of the best ones?
I had one guy. I've had some like really like mean spirited. One guy told me like sailing's not for you. Go back to where you came from and sell the boat right. And I can tell that one guy called me like he said I'm not a real man because said I'm not a real man. He called me a liberal because because I made a comment. I almost stepped on a flying fish barefoot, and it was
Yeah.
like pretty big one, and it was all like it looked all slimy and stuff. And I was like, oh, the fish like it like spooked me, and it looked all gross, and I almost stepped on it. And yeah, he didn't like that. He said a real man wouldn't ever call a fish gross, and
Oh God.
um, yeah. Just this morning, I got one about how my boat is so dirty, and there- I should be embarrassed.
Dude, you gotta love it. I mean, after our last conversation, and you're talking, anytime we chat, it always makes me think about my channel and the content I'm putting out and all that sort of stuff. And long story short, there were a couple of shorts that I had put out recently from doing some of this sailing up here on this little lake, and it's on a Pearson Ensign, tiny little keelboat. It's great for day sailing and such. And we had a couple really windy days, and it was fun. We're just blasting around, and the sails are old and they're whipped, but I'm out there with a bunch of family, and we're all just having a blast, and people are sitting in the sail and all sorts of stuff. And I get some comments from, I don't even know who it was, and a couple of them were nice, and then a couple of, they were all like, you're telltales, and yeah, it doesn't seem like that's and I was like, oh man, Colin did say I should probably start like commenting back and reply. And so I replied a couple of things, and then it kind of took off just for a second, and then somebody else was like, hey, you don't know who this guy is, you should check him out, talking about me. And then I think I went back, and then like I literally woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, dude, I'm deleting those videos. Because I was just like, I don't want to start this battle of wits on some stupid YouTube short thing. And I don't know,
Yeah,
man. I just don't have it in me to do that, dude. I just can't do it. It's too much. There's too much emotion right here. Can't do
yeah,
it.
I feel you. Well, mine policy, I think now is I don't engage with the trolls. I've been tempted to take the bait a few
Battle.
times,
Yeah. Right.
and it's like you're sitting there thinking, oh, I could say this or I could say that, and I should say that would be witty. I should say this.
I don't think you'll
Um,
ever win, will you?
you won't win, and you're feeding the trolls, and you're getting into like the best thing is to just let that comment die in obscurity. Because like especially luckily
It's
with the
true.
Hawaii video, there's so many comments that if I don't engage with it, it just gets buried right away. So
Right, right, right.
it's so much easier to just keep moving. And that moment, it's like there's the fork in the road. It's like I either dig into this comment and start a thing with this guy, or I just move on. Like once you've turned the right way, it just feels so much better. Just leave that go. And in 20 minutes, if somebody else is going to say something really nice, so just whatever.
Very sage advice, sir. Yes, because what there's a saying about that, like what's the cruelest thing you can do to a person is ignore them or something like that. And
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, because I think a lot of the trolls they're looking for that reply. It's like when you're a little kid and you're fighting with your brother or something like that. The only reason you're pushing their buttons is to get a reaction. It's
Hmm.
not like you actually mean what you say. You're just like, I just want to see how wound up I can get my bro.
Yeah. I did plenty of that.
I did too. I did too. Well, okay, that's good. Going forward, I'm trying because I had Murph on the podcast a couple of shows ago, and he was giving out to me for the same thing. He was basically like, "Dude, you don't reply to any of this stuff. You need to take a few minutes." And he was like, "You use the bathroom every day, don't you? That's a good time to do it." I was like, "All right, Murph, okay." But in a lot of ways, I think he is right. So I don't know. I don't know. I was also thinking of what you were saying about the passage making videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I took down the vast majority of the 2023 trip, like 90% of it. And I don't know, it's probably about an hour or so of footage from that, all done with the GoPro, with the intention of uploading it all. And then obviously I started doing presentations with it. And so I took down the vast majority of it. But I was like, I originally uploaded it in little 15-minute increments. And yeah, I was looking at it and I just have all the stuff on the hard drive. I was like, oh man, maybe I string these things together, kind of cut the fat a little bit, see if I can put something together that's about 45 minutes long or something like that. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I just don't think I have ever had or will ever have that sort of sense of editing prowess that it takes to make something that uh, not me. I might enjoy it, but that doesn't mean the vast majority of the audience does.
That's the rub, I think, is being able to see it through somebody else's eyes, you
Right,
know?
right.
Yeah, I have the same thing, and I think I made a lot of progress in that department between the first and second passage video because now I look back at the first one and flip through it. I'm like, this is so boring. Like, there's these like ocean shots are way too long. Like, I'm blabbering on about things that nobody cares about. Letting myself go too long. You hear people say like you have to be ruthless with the edit.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's true. And the way I do it is just put it all in chronological order in the timeline and just keep making whole passes through the thing and just trimming, 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 and trimming. And I took 7 hours of footage and
Oh
cut
wow.
cut it down to 47 minutes.
Holy
And
smokes.
yeah, so the majority got trimmed.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just down to like just trim all the time before you start talking, and if there's a space between words of too long, because I speak so slowly and I like mumble and I say all the time and
Hey,
I
yeah, it happens.
I get sidetracked all the time and sit there and just kind of looking, and I had to trim all that. And the downside is that it ends up having a kind of YouTubey feel sometimes where it's like cut to this, cut to that, it's like
Yeah.
real quick.
Right.
But it's better, I think, than the like, so
Yeah, yeah, the contemplative, like taking. Well, because that I think in a lot of ways that was what I was always thinking. Is I was like, well, I'm just gonna try and share the raw experience, and unfortunately, a subject like sailing, especially ocean sailing and solo ocean sailing, it's a really boring sort of activity. I mean, it's what it is like. It's like 95% boredom, followed by 5% terror and extreme exhilaration. And it is. It's just. I mean, 90% of the time, I'm just sitting there reading a book. And how do you make that interesting? Well, like you're saying, I think you just got to cut it out.
yeah. You know, here's something I think is interesting and funny. The one guy told me, one of the trolls, um, he said, "Is it really solo if you're constantly online and filming?" I don't think so. And I'm like, this is one of the ones that's really easy to just let go, right? But I actually
Yeah.
did want to bite into that one because I'm like, I did the math. I was like, this video is 47 minutes long. The trip was 444 hours. So, and I did the math, it was 0.18% of the trip is the video.
Yeah.
And it's from what, so I mean, obviously, yeah, that's a tiny, tiny little bit. And to even make something that's mildly compelling, you have to cut out 99.8% of the trip. And then even if you take the 7 hour figure, it's still like, well, I can't remember. It's like less than 1% of the trip
Yeah.
um, that I actually had the camera on, and pair that with the idea that, yeah, that 47 minute video, my average retention on YouTube is like 8 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That's like the average view duration because the people are like getting bored and skipping through and watching a minute here. And I guess, yeah, a lot of people just click off right away. So the average is a little misleading, but some people watch the whole thing, some people skip through, but it's just funny. Yeah, you can go do something for 40, 444 hours, trim it down by 99.9%, and people are still gonna be bored.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is. It seems like it's far more accepted, but still a bit of a hot topic as far as taking the internet with you out to sea, and it's something that I still wrestle with. But interestingly enough, I can remember a while ago, years ago, toying with the idea of getting Starlink so that I could sort of upload and post stuff while I was out there, and I got an email actually from one of the podcast listeners, and he was basically expressing his concern that he didn't think it would be a good decision, and all this stuff. But he was actually kind of, he wasn't the nicest about it as far as the threats that he sort of made if I did do this, and
Hmm.
I just didn't respond. Even though it was an email, because typically that's my communication route with a lot of
Mm.
my listeners and viewers, is if they've taken enough time to go to like the website, contact me, write an email, and then we start dialogue, or they sign up on like Patreon, whatever. Um, then I will typically give that a whole lot more notice, and treat it like, okay, so this is a person, this is somebody I should definitely start a dialogue with. And yeah, I was pretty taken aback, but I mean, it definitely made me think. Like, yeah, boy, it is. It's like inviting the devil aboard,
Hmm.
in a lot of respect. And the more I think about it, the more, just the idea of the opportunity to be able to post a podcast or, an Instagram reel or anything. Then all of a sudden, I feel like with my own personality type, which is trying to be productive in any way, shape, or form that I can be, I feel like it would become a problem where the minute I upload one podcast, I'd be like, all right, 3 days, I got to do another one, got to get another one. And when I don't have that ability, everything seems to be so much more natural as far as the progression of what I do, the content I create, because there's zero timeline except for when I finally pull into port somewhere.
Well, what you could do, just an idea. Um, you could have somebody else control your subscription and pause the service, and once a week, all right, Jerome, you get 4 hours of Starlink, and they can turn it on remotely, and you can upload whatever you've collected in that time, or you could just go live and, hey, I'm checking in. I'm Starlink's on for this couple hours every week. Here I am. I don't know if that to you would like. the immersion that comes with being totally disconnected. I don't know if those little breaks would like, you know, kind
Yeah.
of reset your progress that way or not, but
That's what I kind of fear. I really do, is that you end up sort of connecting back in, and then, like you're saying, interrupt the whole everything that you've built up by being, you, the boat, and the sea gets
mhm.
basically just sliced right open. Because I always talk about that like it's this unsevered connection, and you're so involved with it, and you're so and I don't know, maybe I'm just making way too big a deal out of something that really isn't that big a deal. Um, but I don't know. Anytime I've ever been on a boat and we have Starlink, the minute that thing comes out, I'm immediately like, ugh, dang, get that thing out of here. Like my
Yeah, yeah.
instinct is to grab it and throw it overboard. I would never do that, FYI, to any future clients out there. I will not throw your Starlink overboard. But it is. I don't know. There's something, and it's me. It's my. I'm working on it. Let's just say that
Mm, mm.
it's a
I
toughie.
mean, I guess, I could ask you like, you know, why not have that approach in your regular life? Like,
Oh,
when
it's impossible, dude.
I know you, I mean, we're not, yeah,
I
exactly. We're at
wish.
sea. I mean, yeah, it's not very practical, but it's a shame that we can't do, that like the world we live in now, it's like literally almost impossible to disconnect unless you go sail out into the ocean without a Starlink. Like it's like the only way we can even manage it. It's so sad.
Well, and I in the intro, I was just talking about this camping trip, and we go up to the UP, and you know, up until maybe like 5 years ago or something like that, if you took your cell phone into the woods, you weren't going to get a signal at all. There's no chance of it. And over the last couple of years, a couple of the people that I've gone with have brought their cell phones, and now they're getting a signal.
Mm,
And I think it was last year was one of the first times when we were sitting around the campfire, and I'm looking over and my buddy's got his phone out, and he's like, I don't know, scrolling or something. And I'm
mm,
just thinking like, whoa, that is like a sight that you should not be seeing out here in these woods. And I talk about it like this week long respite, complete and utter disconnection from all technology, all communication, is something I absolutely crave. And it's like a reset, because it's even more, which doesn't make too much sense, but it's even more of a disconnect than when I go, out into the middle of the ocean. Because I have to check in with people when I'm out there. When
right.
I'm up in the woods for a week, and the biggest passage is a half a mile paddle across the lake, people are like, he'll probably be fine, so don't worry about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. As you can see, it's a hot topic for me. I wrestle with it because I want to be productive. I want to be able to post stuff, but at the same time, I need to get the experience that I need to get when I go out onto the ocean.
Sounds like the only way to do both is to have some like serious shore team kind of activity where I'm sure there's a way to do it where you can turn on Starlink once a week, you can upload stuff to someone and like not interact any more than you have to, like keep your comms separate with your Iridium or whatever you use.
Mm-hmm.
Just build a system that has big guardrails where, yeah, there's very specific times when Starlink can come on. It's at a specific interval, and it can't be used for X, Y, and Z. Like you cannot access any social media, and it literally just gets dropped to somebody on your shore team. That's like, all right, Jerome uploaded some video and a podcast, and I'm gonna edit the video and post it, and I'm gonna upload the podcast, and that's the only way I could see it working to try to do both.
The only issue with that is I don't have a shore team.
I'll do it.
Oh, aren't you? Aren't you just the greatest? Thank you, Colin. Well, who knows?
Yeah, I'm
Maybe,
sure a bunch of people would be stoked to help you with that. That sounds fun.
yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, dude, the amount of hard drives full of all of my content that I have given away to people who show the slightest interest in trying to create something with it. And this is all
Yeah,
the footage from around the world and the 2023 trip, the real interesting ones. And absolutely zero comes out of it every single time. And I'm done.
doesn't surprise me.
I can't buy any more, 1 terabyte hard drives and just give them to people. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. If
so
somebody wants to do it, they have to bring their own hard drive.
yeah, exactly. That sounds,
Well,
or
it's
I can email it somehow, but it's a gigantic file.
yeah. I think it's one of those things that um, it's easy to promise. It sounds good at the time, and then the reality of doing it, it's so easy to procrastinate. I'm actually making a video for James Baldwin's channel right now.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, but it's not his footage. It's mostly, it's almost all mine. Um, and at some point it'll be done, and I'll send it to you. But it's yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. Sure, I'll do that. And then I was working on my video and the other one, and it was just so much easier to do mine.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And just like, all right, well, I'll do mine first, and then I'll get into it. And then I made some kind of starts, and it's in the works. But yeah, it's so easy to put off. And then now I've got all these. Now I'm in a position where there's all these new subscribers, and there's all this attention on this video, and everyone that is in YouTube or anything, everyone's like, you got to follow up like now.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
up. That's the whole like algorithm gaming thing is now you got to jump on it. You got people you got to engage. You got to upload more content. And so now I'm like, dang, that James video, like, I got to do it,
We're gonna have
but
to
like,
shelf that one for a little bit.
well, yeah, I owe him, a lifetime of gratitude. So I want to get it done for him. But I'm also like, dang, I need to get a boat tour video out. I got to like do this and that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are you doing on this podcast, dude? You should be working editing, dude. Golly. No, I thoroughly appreciate you anytime you come on the show. It's always a ball. Always.
Am I your most, how many? I've been on here now quite a few times.
Uh yeah,
I feel
you've
like
been on
this.
like 4 times, 5 times, I think, something like that. My older brother Sven,
Mm,
he's still, I think, the number one. Every time I see him, we do another podcast. I haven't seen him
nice.
in, a year or so at this point, unfortunately. But yeah, he's got a lot of them.
Yeah. Every time you ask me, I'm like, man, aren't your people sick of me? Like, what are we
No way,
gonna?
dude. Well, that's the thing. What I think is cool is that you've done this transition from a boat that you lived on for a while, but you basically had to rework and kind of rebuild, and so you put all this effort into it, and now you've done the transition to a bigger, heftier boat, but now there's like these new challenges and there's new stuff getting thrown at you, and it's kind of interesting to just see the progression of you know going from holy cow, this is awesome to wait a minute, I didn't realize all this stuff was wrong. And then being able to watch as you sort of tackle these problems and issues and get that boat underway. Because if I'm correct, isn't it like November when the lease is up on that dock space and you're free?
I'm free around November, so that's what I'm kind of trying to do with this game plan. Is like, okay, the- I'm trying to prioritize like what's going to enable me to move the boat and just at least sail. Maybe that means the wind vane doesn't have to happen. That might mean I need crew to help me move it somewhere. Um,
I'll go.
but yeah,
I'll go.
sweet. There you go. I mean, I assume, I'm thinking if the wind vane doesn't happen, then I'd probably prioritize autopilot. And
Right, right.
I want to get a pelagic, and those have worked for me in all kinds of conditions. So I feel like with another person on board and the pelagic, we could move it. so we're not helming 24 hours a day in shifts,
Yeah.
but
Well, you
ideally
can
a wind
balance
vane,
it. We don't need a wind vane,
well,
technically. It's just a
speaks
lot
tiller.
easier. Yeah, you just got to
Yeah,
balance those sails out, my friend. Knox
yeah,
Johnson did it in the Pacific, and he made it all the way back to England.
there you go.
There you go.
It's possible. It's possible.
Well, no,
So
that would be pretty darn cool. I'm planning on starting November 1st and making my way down on Sparrow, but I'm gonna do coastal stuff and do some hops and everything. And yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about on and off and stuff, but that would be super cool, dude, to be able to hop on there and help move that boat to wherever, whether it's another marina or if it's, to a boatyard or whatever the plan ends up being, once you've done your discovery session, so to speak.
yeah, no, I would love that would be amazing. I would love to have you on board for that. Yeah, I'm trying to finish this list and see like a Dodger. That's a good example. The Dodger doesn't need to happen before that trip, right? Um,
No. I mean, you've
yeah.
got one. That's the nice part.
Well, when I took it down, it started kind of ripping up like a bunch of you know, the fasteners, like the deck fasteners,
Oh, yeah, I
as I
bet.
took it out, like it was really UV damaged, and a bunch of those it like started ripping, and
Right,
um,
right.
yeah, I think that one's a goner.
But I mean,
Um,
you've still got the hard bimini, or did you take that off already?
that's still up.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to scrap the whole thing and just make a much smaller one, you know,
Yeah.
all canvas. Um,
Well,
but
and that
yeah.
I think that's going to be one of the interesting things. Like once you get to hop aboard Sparrow and take a look at that boat and how I've got that set up and some of the pros and cons that has, because mine's the canvas Dodger that you can fold down in heavy weather or when it's perfect out and you just want like a day sailing experience mid ocean.
Hmm.
But then having like the solar panels hanging off the gallows and all that sort of stuff, it'll be cool so that you can check it out and be like, oh, okay, I like this, I hate that, I like this, that's stupid, what are you thinking, that sort of stuff. You don't have to
Yeah,
tell me it's stupid, I won't get offended though.
I'll tell you. I'll keep it real.
I don't doubt it, I
I'm
don't
sure.
doubt
I'm
it.
sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm going to do some things that you're going to be like, "What is he doing?"
Yeah, right, like, oh dude, well, it's
One
good to
of
hear some of the systems are still working though. I think you should fire that engine up, give it all ripski. It's pretty
even with the
easy.
coolant, should I add coolant? I
Well,
wonder.
that's
Didn't
in
when we
that's in
ran
the
it? Didn't it? I thought we looked. I thought it was okay last time. I'm like, is it leaking coolant? What's going on? Why?
well, if I recall, I couldn't get the cap off of the actual radiator, like the coolant tank, because you're talking about the overfill, right?
Yeah, I guess. Well, there's like a clear, like a bulbous plastic
Yeah.
thing, and it's a coolant level. Keep coolant level between low and full or whatever, and there's barely anything in there. It's well below the low mark.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Well, let's just show our audience just the ignorance level they're dealing with here. I don't have one of those on Sparrow, because it's a Perkins. That one is a Yanmar, I believe.
mhm.
Um, I think the real tell is if you pull the little cap off of the I don't even know what you call it. I want to say the coolant tank. I want to call it the radiator. I know it's not the radiator, but there's that one thing, and you can see how much coolant is actually in the tank that's going through the system. Because I think that overfill is like once things heat up and the engine gets up to temperature, running temperature and stuff. Then as that stuff expands, that's what that expansion tank is for. But
Mm.
I don't have
Yeah,
one, so I don't deal with
well,
it.
it does say, keep it above the low line. So that's the only thing that makes me worried. But there is there's a manual for the engine on board. So
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, hopefully it's a little less complicated than like the Rosetta Stone because usually those things are about as fascinating a read. I have the one
Mm,
for the Perkins, and
yeah.
it may as well be written in like German. I'm just like, I can't even decipher the pictures. I have to go
Mm.
completely to Nigel Caldwell or, friends and YouTube essentially. So
Yeah, I kind of want to. I met a guy here that works on engines. I kind of want to hit him up and be like, hey, can I pay you to like just give me an like come by, help me change the oil, and let me just ask you some questions. Just show me around, help me change like these filters and some Raycor filters, and just show me the ropes. And I think that'd be money well spent. So.
Colin, I wouldn't doubt that if you figure out exactly which Yanmar that is and approximately the year, you'll probably be able to find a video that shows you. Because I would think changing the oil and the oil filter, obviously want to do that. Change both fuel filters because that probably hasn't happened in years. Um, Checking transmission level, maybe even changing that out, like changing all the fluids. But then
Mm.
also the other thing would be to investigate if it has zincs that need to be replaced, both on the engine, because some engines have it, some don't, I believe. And then the other one would be in the heat exchanger. There's usually a zinc in there because that has those little itty bitty
Mm.
pipes where it pushes the raw water that cools the coolant that then cools the engine.
Okay. I had
So
no idea.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I would check out YouTube. You'd be surprised that you probably find that exact engine. I found
Hmm.
it with my Perkins a million times, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that. He's doing
Mm.
exactly what I need to do. And
Okay.
then I'd find out it wasn't the problem at all. And but that's how she goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Problems. Yeah.
And it's fun though. I tell you, I swear to God. Now, it's going to sound crazy. I've had almost every issue you could have that's like fixable by just, an everyday person, not a mechanic, with my
Hmm.
engine. And though it has been frustrating, and though it has been scary, and though it has been costly, the amount that I know about my engine and when it has issues and how to fix it and how to like sort it all out feels so good at this point
Hmm.
after all these years. And the fact that I've put, 1,500 hours on this ancient rebuilt engine and it's still humming away almost better than it ever has, like that feels pretty darn good, like a nice little reward. And so
Yeah.
don't
You
fear the
earned it.
diesel. They're super fun engines once you get the hang of them.
Yeah, you earned that, man. And that's the hardest thing about this whole transition is just um yeah, doing like you said, like over the rebuilding that Triton and knowing every bolt and nut
Mm.
and square inch of that boat and knowing every system I did. So like just understanding everything about that boat and walking on to something that's a lot more complex and not having the faintest idea. Like I don't even know what's behind a cubby door, like I don't know how anything works. There's just random wiring, and so what is this? So, um, yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be all the more rewarding once I do make my way through all the systems,
Yeah.
understand them, get them all up to speed. But that's the hard part right now. Is like it's overwhelming to not know what you're looking at. So.
Well, all right. So we've talked about like the challenges and the all the stuff and the unknowns. What are you excited about right now?
I'm excited. What's keeping me going is landfall in most likely Ireland. Um,
Whoa.
that's kind of the dream is like, yeah, I don't know if I'd go direct. I'd probably make stops.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming it would be Bermuda, Azores, Ireland.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I think about the few that's the motivation right now is to have this boat dialed, to have some miles behind, under the keel and to show up. I've never been to Ireland, you know, never been to the UK. So um, that's kind of the mental image right now. I did some tropical stuff. I'm excited more about like a cooler climate and like a part of the world I've never been to. And yeah, I'm just imagining showing up there just feel incredible. So I literally actively make a point to think about that as motivation sometimes.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean,
Uh,
the tool of what I've always referred to as projection, the power of projection, where I can remember being in the absolute worst way down in the Southern Ocean and projecting myself, back into the Atlantic in the trade winds and how wonderful that was going to be. And yeah, I mean, it does. I think it's a very useful tool to sort of keep the positivity and also just remind you of why it's worth it to put in the effort right now. Because when you do get to that spot, you want to look back and be like, dude, I killed it. I was pushing real hard back then and I could have sloughed off, but I didn't. So
mhm.
I get this reward now. Because that's the other thing I always try to think of. When I have big projects and stuff laying ahead of me is like, well, if I slough off today and do nothing, then I'm just gonna not get to my destination for another day. So I'm just postponing what I'm trying to achieve here. And why would I ever want to do that? And then I like smack myself around a little bit and then boom, I get to it. And that for
Mm.
me at least seems to help a bit.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
So so
it's an endurance game when you're sailing and when you're working on boats. It's like, yeah,
oh yeah,
it's all endurance.
all endurance and pushing through the tough ones to get those little victories. And then, taking a moment, cracking a brew, smiling, and then diving right back in.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's good times. I'm going to be back up in the yard at some point fairly shortly working on Sparrow. So I will be right in your same boat. No pun intended. I got to pull
Yeah, I
all the
can
chain plates
never tell
off.
which one you mean. Oh yeah. Yeah, I gotta do that too. I think I'm just gonna pull one off and just base it on
Oh,
that.
yeah, if it looks good. Well, I mean, do you have
Hmm.
rust coming out of anything?
Nothing like out on the side of the hull that you
Right.
can see, but some of there's like I think one or two. Again, I haven't looked at them all, and I don't even know how to get to some of them yet and stuff. So, but I think there's one you can see the fasteners are rusty.
Mm-hmm.
So probably that'd be a good candidate. Probably take that one off. Take a
Yeah.
look.
Well, and definitely with the West sails, always check the aft tangs or whisker stays that are going down to the hull from
Mm,
the boomkin, because
hmm.
that's a major fail point. They started upgrading and upsizing that anchor point, and yeah, it's like because it's so close to the salt water, and it's kind of just a spot where people forget to inspect. But I've been on a boat where it was cracked, and
Hmm.
for sure, could have led to dismasting and stuff. So always good to check that one.
Yeah, good to know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
read about that, and I think these ones were already upsized. So
Nice, nice.
yeah,
Oh, well, cool,
yeah.
man. Well, hey, listen, I'll stop wasting your time here. I want to say I appreciate you coming on the show, sharing the journey for sure. And again, dude, congratulations on the success of that last video. I'll definitely put a link in the description for anybody who has not seen it. But you got to be closing into like 1 million views on that, right? Pretty soon, I would think.
It's slowed down a lot. It like hit a huge peak, and then
And then it
it's
dropped a bit.
dropping. I mean, but it's all relative. It's funny when I put it up, it was like, oh man, if this got 1,000 views, it'd be crazy. And then
Yeah, yeah,
then it
right.
at one point it was doing like 18, 19,000 an hour, which was
Golly.
crazy. And now it's down to like today for the first time I saw it like under 1,000 an hour, and it's funny that that's like, oh my God, it's so slow now. It's still like
Oh
like
God, I would dream of
25,000 a
that,
year or
dude.
whatever, but
Oh
or
well.
a day. Yeah,
Well,
so I don't know, but it's every day it's like less and less, but yeah, it's over 700. It's like 730 or something right now.
Nice, dude. Well, congratulations. You've earned it, I think, for sure. And yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. It's different. It's different than all the other ones that are kind of doing that same genre of the passage making thing, because your
Hmm.
insights are different and the way you go about describing, what's going on is I think really, really good. So definitely
Oh,
check that
thanks,
out
Jerome.
if you haven't. Yeah, no worries, man. And obviously, we'll keep checking in with you, and you keep us posted on how things are going, my friend.
Will do. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll get out there sailing sometime.
Yes, tandem or both of us on one boat or the other. West Sailors,
Yeah,
dude, we got to stick together.
absolutely.
All right, thanks for coming on the show.
All right, thanks.